Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host, Francis, here with Mika to talk about episode 18 of Love Island UK Allstars. How are you doing today, Mika?
I'm good. Happy February 1st. Happy Thursday. Happy Black History Month in the US.
And Canada.
And Canada. Okay. In North America. I don't know if
America,
the
yeah.
I think UK's later in the year or something like that.
UK has that because it doesn't seem like they care about Black people at all in the show. In the country. From the shows that I watch, you know.
Supposedly they do. Let me see what it is.
You were asking me about if I saw your IG. Was that something related to Love Island?
No, I was saying, did you see that they said that there's an issue streaming this to IG now?
Oh yeah, I did see that. Well, because I think what's happened, it's not saving the lives, right?
I didn't try yet.
I tried twice, and I tried saving the live after, and basically, like I have the it checked on my account that it's like any live video automatically creates like a file, like a post, and okay. So it just never showed up. So I was like, okay,
yeah.
Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but it's nice to know that it's not just me.
It's not just you then, because I just saw a message.
It ain't working.
So yes, the UK Black History Month is not until October.
October, interesting. Yeah, did it say as to why October became the month?
No, it doesn't say.
Should we go and visit the UK in October? That's kind of fun.
That sounds fun.
/ I think I might go back to school. I told you that, right?
Oh. Yeah, you mentioned something.
I applied. We'll see if I get in, but I applied for psychology. I'm like, you know what? I might as well work towards
very briefly, like in passing, so you said you might do that, but I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I've applied. I'll have to see if I get into the school. But okay. I just thought it was gonna be really interesting, especially looking at these love shows, and having the correct terminology. Like we use a lot of like gaslighting, and he's the narcissist, or there's a lot of terminology that's kind of gets thrown around, especially in love reality shows. And so I just want to have a more of a informed perspective of all things about human behavior. It's just something that's always fascinated me. I want to use like astrology and Myers-Briggs and Enneagrams as like opportunities to have further investigation into human behavior and compatibility and stuff like that. So yeah, I just was like, whatever, our 4 years is going to pass, whether I go back to school or not. I might as well come back with a psychology degree so I can get my master's and doctorate if I choose to. So
makes sense.
So we'll see how that goes. But we're not talking about my psychology degree. We're talking about this episode. We're at the end
of the week.
Toby's for the streets. He's for the streets.
I would say that, except for that Toby, we've seen you do this. We've seen this game plan. We've seen this play out. No. You must want to be dumped. We don't need to see this again, especially not with that person. Like, no.
Okay, we're gonna get to it. So how did we get here? How did we get to what has happened at the end of this episode? We start off by them all getting ready for the night, and the toast is done by Casey. So Casey's a new Islander from season 9 that I don't know anything about. I find it hilarious that people thinks he looks like Lord Farquaad from was it from Beauty and the Beast? No, Beauty and the Beast. Sorry, Shrek.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of does, and so I think that's hilarious. So you got Lord Farquaad and like Arabella, arachnophobia. Like I just hearing people talk about her, like because sometimes I don't realize that they're just making fun of her. And he's like, oh, him and acrobats, and I'm like, who's acrobats? And I don't know who it is, but like, it's just funny. It's very funny to me. I'm sorry, Arabella, that people are making fun of your name. So Casey does the toast saying, trying our best to kiss some girls. The first chat that happens is both the Georgias talking, and Georgia Harrison feels really mugged off by Casey. What it seems like happened, I mean, we're going to talk about it a lot more this episode, but like they ended it and she didn't want to end it. And he was like, let me just give her some space because like it's over to me. And then he responded a couple times and then she blocked him. Something like that. You know what I mean? But like, I feel like it was over.
So what I said yesterday was, were you really ghosted, or did we just stop speaking? Because what he's saying is they spoke on the phone and mutually agreed something wasn't working, and that they got off the phone. She messaged him a couple times. He responded not to all of them, but to one or two of them. And then they stopped conversing.
Yeah.
Which to me is not a ghost.
Not a ghost.
We ended our relationship. I just didn't feel like keep talking to you or even being friends with you. Which, again, we've said the last few weeks. It's okay if you don't want to continue to be friends.
Like when you start getting to know somebody, like that's what you're doing. You're getting to know somebody to see whether or not you want to pursue a relationship with them. If you make the decision that you do not want to pursue a relationship with them anymore, you don't really have to respond to them anymore, right? Because it's kind of dumb. Like, yes, it would be polite to respond to them, but if he has an inkling that you want to get back and he's not interested, he kind of has to be cold and being like, I'm not going to respond to that because I do not want to give her the wrong impression. I don't want to open up that door at all. I want to be very clear that I'm not interested. So I am going to be as distant as possible so that she doesn't get the wrong idea. That's what it seemed like to me.
But depending on the context, sometimes you just don't know what to say, like at all.
Exactly. Hi, Tanita.
Hi, Tanita.
Yeah, I definitely like. I'm on his side for this for sure. And like, wow, these last few episodes has made me really not a fan of Georgia Harrison.
I was over her today. I thought I was over her a couple days ago. This let me know it's past.
Absolutely. Like, and I agree with you 100%. Because yeah, we'll be getting to it for sure. So Tom and Casey have a chat and they were talking about Georgia H, and they said like, oh, it's really nice seeing her, and he's going to actually speak to Georgia Harrison because like he doesn't want to have any bad blood with her because he just doesn't understand why she's so mad about the situation, you know? So at least he's going to go and have a chat with her, which he does. He interrupts the Georgias having their conversation, and like Georgia Steele was all like, oh, love you, babes, bye, babes, and like, and she's calling Casey over and be like, yeah, of course, come in, come chat. And like I felt like Georgia Steele was kind of making it that she's like such a cool, easygoing girl. Like all the guys love her. And like I felt like she was kind of rubbing it in her face that like she can be so chill and relaxed and like everybody loves her. Did you see that at all, or am I just making it up because I'm not a fan of either of them?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like why she's like, come on over here. Like, yeah, it's good. It's like I felt like she wanted to show off how easygoing she is and how much she can get along with Tom and or not Tom, Casey, and like I don't know. I felt she was rubbing it in Georgia Harrison's face a little bit.
Okay. I wasn't catching that. I was so focused on Georgia's voice activities and grating on my nerves the entire. So it was really hard to like focus on other people because I'm just like, she literally made this episode about her.
Absolutely. I mean, I guess that's what you do when you're like on a TV show for dating and you're a returning person. Like you want to have as much airtime as possible, I guess. Well, she has a conversation with Casey and she's like, yeah, I blocked you after you ghosted me. And he's like, I didn't ghost you. We mutually decided not to talk to each other anymore. And then she's like, you know, and like it was, I think she said, I messaged you after a 14-hour flight in an economy. Like, so what are you being like an elitist here? Like, why did you need to throw in a 14-hour flight in economy?
Just to show that it was a hardship.
She was a hardship. Yeah. She was really down.
14-hour flight says to be went somewhere far, which was probably somewhere nice. So I can't necessarily feel sorry.
Absolutely. 14-hour flight is like, isn't that like Hawaii?
From UK, maybe. I'm not sure.
Hold on, let's see. Um
Because 14-hour
where
flight from us is like Singapore, Bali.
flight from London, England. I feel like it might be okay. So, two longest flights from London to Perth takes 16 hours. To Santiago is 14 hours and 45 minutes. I feel
Is
like okay.
South
How long
America
is?
or Australia? Perth is in Australia, right?
But I think that's I maybe she's in Australia, but from London,
Scotland.
England
Sorry.
to
Yeah, no, Australia. Australia.
sorry, from London to us to Hawaii is 18 hours. Okay, never mind. That's also really far. So maybe she did go to
Australia.
Australia. I can see her going to Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Hi,
Good.
Mary. Thanks for being
Nice.
here.
Nice.
Hi, Miss T.
Hello.
So, she's really upset with the fact that she was in an economy and then he broke up with her and then he didn't want to talk to her out after. And then she's like, "Did you miss me?" And I'm just like, girl, like, she needs to also get a hint. She is like Liberty that's has a little bit more self-esteem. A little bit, but not much.
I was dying laughing at the top of this episode because I said all that shit she gave Liberty about not shutting up about Mitch, like supposedly not liking her and her not seeing that Mitch had wanted nothing to do with her. And she basically, this was her full Liberty episode. Like she did the exact same thing. And it was very annoying.
Naya is also joining us today. Hello. Hi, V. Thanks for being here, catching the live.
Maybe.
Also, Mary, I wish that he said no because I'm just like, come on. You're not interested in her. You don't miss her at all.
He
Please.
was trying really hard. And I think Tom having that conversation of, well, you really should go ahead and like try to like smooth that over. Like, and I was like, no, he shouldn't. They're done. Like, and he did say it to her later, like, we have to live together. So I guess it's that whole we have to live together thing, but just don't talk to each other. It's okay.
100%.
You can be in the same space and never talk to each other.
So, Danita, I think that the 14 hours was from her spiritual retreat, actually, now that I think about it, because she was saying, because we'll find out more information later what happened in that conversation. But I think she had the conversation, they broke it off. She she finished her retreat. She came back home and wanted to still talk about it.
Through it. Yeah.
And he was done. It was done. You ended it. Like it wasn't with like but I still want to talk to you when I get back, but even though we're done. No.
And I still want a timeline because I thought she was with some guy. What happened to that?
Some guy.
I don't know. Georgia Harrison. I thought she was dating somebody over the summer. So now she was dating Casey?
Maybe. Yeah. Because she said it
timeline.
ended in what? In November, no?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, let's see. Georgia Harrison dating. I think it was him. Okay. So wait, which Tom? What's Tom? What is this Tom's last name? Do you remember?
No, I don't like that.
Okay, so she dated Bear, as we know.
Mm-hmm.
Tom. Also, another person named Tom. I don't know if it's the same Tom. Let's see.
This Tom is Tom Claire.
Okay, no, this person's name is Tom Pierce. Not my type of guy at all. Hold on, I'll show you what he looks like. The guys that get play in the UK, it's just like.
See, Danita's asking the question I'm asking. Like, she was also with Josh. When was that?
Well, okay, so there's this guy. Like,
Mhm.
he's so, I mean, I'm sure he has a great personality, but like, how does he get girls? You know what I mean? Like, he's not my type at all. Like, that's not a look for me personally.
Mhm.
Man, oh man, oh man. Um, okay, I'll remove that. So he dated him, and then also dated someone named Miles Nazaire. Who's that? Oh, he's kind of cute. I mean, if this is correct, right? If it's correct. This guy's kind of cute, but he looks young, but it's kind of cute. And then someone named Louis Bloor. But these are all like 9 years ago.
Oh, okay.
He's such a British looking person.
Yeah.
Oh, British reality TV. I wonder where he's from though. Oh, he dated Marnie, so maybe he was on Geordie Shore. Interesting. But yeah, it doesn't have her timeline for Josh and
Casey.
Casey.
Apparently.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, we'll keep an eye on it. I'm gonna have to one of these days do what I said, is do the chart, the spider web of all the relationships. V says the hot guys in the UK makes you feel better about liking Joey the Bachelor.
Definitely
Joey's a
should.
good-looking guy, but he's also not my type.
Definitely
Like,
not my
not
type.
a look that I'm into.
Definitely not my type.
I need someone that looks a little rugged, a little.
Yeah.
He just looks so soft.
That's why a lot of people are like, "Oh, aren't you watching Joey's season? He's so cute." And I'm like, no cuteness factor is bringing me to this show. Sorry.
Yeah, he doesn't really bring any edge to me that I'm interested in, but I'm watching it though.
Mm-hmm.
Hi Kay. So Kay says she claims she and Josh were off and on. I thought she also mentioned she reconnected with Josh last summer too. I don't know. I think she just is not great at being in solidified relationships, but she has a lot of situationships, it seems. She kind of, doesn't lock him down. So Casey, he does mention that he wants to get to know Kaz and Molly.
Mm-hmm.
And she was definitely offended by him saying Molly. And she's like, isn't that your best friend's mate? Your girl?
Entire episode. I don't know if she thought he was supposed to come and play Captain Save-A-Ho and was supposed to come and be like, "Oh, Georgia's single, let me go save her." He's not Anton, dude.
Oh, God. Yeah. I think she thought that he would just want to be with her out of everybody since they
Right.
already have something going on, and she's
It's
not
like
looking.
offending her that she's not top of his choice because she has nobody and he's supposed to come riding on his horse and just
I mean, Lord
hang with her.
Farquhar, he would have a horse, I would assume.
Yeah.
Josh and Sophie have a conversation, and he's like, we're still open, but it's going to take a lot for my head to turn." And I was just like, Josh, I mean, I wish Sophie would just be like, just end it, but I guess she's just like, she's just going along with the flow, going along with it.
I told you this is her type. This is nothing new that I've seen for her. She's a complete sweetheart, but this is not new. And it's literally just going to take a day for somebody to come in and just turn his head. It's not going to take somebody special. It's going to take a day.
Kay says, to be honest, we can see why Georgia Harrison always ends up in situationships. We saw it on the challenge too. She's got some insecurities to work through. Absolutely.
No, I didn't
similar
watch
to Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that they're just so desperate to be loved and be in a relationship, it seems, that they don't set their boundaries from the beginning. They allow people to walk all over them, and then after they've already walked all over them is when they decide to set the boundaries and be like, I'm not going to let you do that to me. It's like, well, you already did.
Yeah. And that's what I said. I very much identify with that, but that's because I have a limited
experience.
dating experience. And so that is definitely the pattern that I notice I've fallen into, because you just try to be like, oh, I like, it's funny because it's like your ask is feels not so big. So you're like, well, maybe I'm being over, because there will be people who will tell you your boundary that you're saying is a boundary is too much of a boundary, and you're never going to get a man that way, and you should let go of that, and nobody's perfect, you should have concessions, right? And so you allow the boundary to get moved, and then
Then
yes.
you're like, and they're like, "Oh, I knew I needed to set that boundary up."
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because the people that are willing to respect it are people that you probably want to have in your life, in your
Yeah.
circle, in your
Yep.
to interact with.
Yep.
100%. Kay says, yeah, because a vicious cycle leaves them open to people who take advantage and manipulate them. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Because they're just so want to be with somebody that they're fall for anybody, right?
Yep. Yep. And at some point you really do have to set the boundary and just either be okay with the fact that you released the boundary and allowed somebody to overrun it, or be okay with you setting the boundary, meaning that you might be alone for a bit.
100%. And it's kind of like, if you didn't want to break up, then why did you agree to the breakup on the phone?
Right. Which is why but that's why I think she's trying to gloss over that part and say that he ghosted her, instead of like letting him pinpoint the fact that they mutually broke up. Instead, she's making it seem, because that's what the argument was in the middle of the episode. It's him like, you're making it seem like I did something, or I'm doing something to you, but that's not fair. We had a conversation, and you are making it seem like it was like a one-sided
It
thing on
came
my.
out of nowhere. You were talking, and
Yeah,
all of a sudden
yeah.
he dipped.
But that is what she is doing. She is trying to revise history in order to allow herself out of the situation, and
And feel
make him
better
the
about
fall
herself.
guys. Yep.
Well, not even feel better about herself, but feel justified in
Being
like
upset
being
right now.
upset.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mary says, I understand Georgia, but I would never claim any of my situationships. I would deny,
Yeah.
deny.
I was listening to the official podcast this morning, and I think even India was saying that, like, the fact that she was just like, oh, he ghosted me, and she keeps going on and on. She's like, I would never say that on public. She's like, I would never admit that happened.
I'd be
would
like,
act
oh my
like,
God, I'm so embarrassed, but I'm just being honest right now. But like, he definitely ghosted me. I'm so embarrassed.
yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And like, I maybe would say it once and be like, I can't believe I'm gonna have to live with him. Like, I'm not gonna talk to him. Like,
Exactly. That's the whole point. It's like, then if you're going to even acknowledge it, like, just don't talk to him. Like, don't have a conversation with him.
would never admit she got dumped by a phone. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if it were me and he came in, just be like, we had something going on. It ended weirdly, and we're
Mhm.
not friends. Like, and then be
Yeah.
like, ugh, and I don't know if I really want to
I
talk to
would literally, you would not know until he approached me that we even knew each other. I'm going to tell you the truth. I
him.
would
And
not
would I
even,
say anything before he approached me though?
I would not acknowledge the ground he walks on. I'm sorry. Especially if I
If it was that way,
justifiably.
yeah, I'd just be like, oh, he was deleted. He's deleted.
Yeah, I would but again, also I'm a Taurus, so we delete people often.
I'm Aquarius. We delete people too. So
The good people are like, Taurus will literally act like they never knew you ever in life, and it's true. I find myself do it very often, like, not even out of sight, out of mind. Literally, once I'm done with you, I am done with you. It's like you were never a part of any equation. So I would not even acknowledge, be like, Casey is like, Casey, they're so familiar. And then he would approach me like, hey, Georgia. And like, do I know you? Like, don't you look so familiar?
I don't know if I'd be that cool.
And then I'd be like, and he'd be like, oh, stop playing. I'm like, playing? No, for real. Like, where do we know each other? We know each other?
I think in the terms of the TV show, I would not. I would probably say something to the girls if he came in and be like, "Oh my God, okay, I'm just gonna." He's on ignore, but like we've had a pass, but that's about it. And then I would probably still not talk to him unless he approached me first.
No.
But I think I'd tell the girls in the situation about like
I can
a
say
very vague, brief thing and be
Yeah.
like, we don't talk and I don't plan on talking now.
No. Very insignificant. She's making it so significent. And it
Yeah.
was very insignificant.
To him for sure. He's just like, oh my God. KB here is saying that feels as though Casey also has an interesting attachment style. He could be on the spectrum for avoidant behavior. He seems to run from anything that's too emotionally intense for him too. Maybe.
I
don't know that well.
I was gonna say there's a lot of diagnosis that I'm not prepared. There's some things I will say about Casey later that I observed, but I don't know if I can put all of that on him.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the behavior,
Yeah.
seemingly his behavior might be that way, but I've only obviously seen him these last 2 episodes, so I don't know that man.
Yeah, and I watched him 2 seasons, and I'm still not comfortable saying all of that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't be saying this on, well, I might be saying a little bit on national TV, but I would not be like, he ghosted me. He broke up with me over the phone.
Never.
Our quote tried. Do you
even if I ghosted him, I wouldn't admit it. Even if I ghosted him, he'd be like, you stopped talking to me. Did I? So sorry.
Yeah, Kay also would not admit on national television that he ghosted me several times. Wild admission. I'd just be so embarrassing. And she recognizes that's embarrassing, and she keeps on saying, like, you mugged me off. It's so embarrassing. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah, so stop. Stop.
Denise says, especially since she's more popular than most of these male Islanders on this season, would have kept it to myself. Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, ghosting. Casey on his season was more into bromance, and he didn't make significant relationships with any girl. I mean, that's like most of the guys I would find on this season.
In the last, since season 6? Nah, I wouldn't even give season 6. Season 6 had a lot of strong couples. So I'm going to say since season 7, yes. That has basically been the MO for these people. It's about the bromance, not the romance.
Right? It's about being open. It's about being open. So Chris and Joanna have a conversation, and wanting to talk to each other about like what they're looking for. He wants to leave here with somebody. He's 33. He's hoping that the person that he leaves with could be somebody that he starts a future with. And then I thought it was really funny though, when she wasn't trying to be funny, but when she's like, like as I get older, like looks aren't important at all. It's all about personality. And Chris was just like, like I think he was like half insulted, but like he knows he's a good looking guy. So like I think she was more so emphasizing like the personality of the person, but I thought it was kind of funny that she was lightly insulting him at the same time, which is a very good way to flirt with somebody.
Yeah, it was hilarious because he was like, I'm offended. I should be offended, right? I'm offended. But also she's very cute. So maybe I'm not too offended, but I'm offended.
Guys love a little jab sometimes, right? So, if you kind of insult their manhood a little bit, they want to prove something to you.
And I feel like that is Chris's banter. He seems to go for the girls who are disaffected to him. So Molly, Arabella, and now Joanna.
Yeah, like people that are not like, oh my God, like, well, most guys though like banter. Like it's just kind of what gets them entrapped. You know what I mean? Like they like someone not being a pushover. They like someone that's gonna give it back to them a little bit. Like that's like hard to get a little bit. Like, come on.
I agree. I said, if you can't flirt with me, because somebody was asking me like about some person who is in my vicinity, and it's a guy, and it's like, oh, he's a great guy, probably on paper, like we would be okay, not necessarily my full type, but we don't flirt. Not even this, and we're like we've been in the room together constantly, and we're not flirting. So what does that say to you? And it's not just on him, and it's on me. He doesn't flirt with me. I don't flirt with him.
I'd be like, I don't know. I would think that it's not going towards a romantic relationship.
That's what I'm saying.
Even with my friends, though, like I tease, right? I have
Right.
banter,
Yeah.
especially with guys. Even if I'm not interested in them, like I will be heavy on the flirting. Heavy.
There are so many times men think I'm flirting with them, and I'm literally just chatting because we're just having conversation back and forth. So that's what I'm saying. Like that's normal behavior for me. And even with this guy, it's very neutral.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I want to see how it goes then, because I feel as though flirting is important in a romantic relationship. So
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So I'm like, I don't think either of us are interested.
yeah, right. Okay. There you go.
And it's okay. Like I'm not offended. Like but people are like, oh, I don't understand. Like, I'm like, not every guy I have to get with just because they're in my vicinity.
Do we know their sign?
I would have to look at it. I'm sure I can get it.
I'm just curious if it might be like maybe he is flirting with you, but like you just not compatible flirt wise.
That's also possible. Kind of doubt it, but sure.
Mary here is saying, I mean, to be fair, she's going from Michael the firefighter to Chris, but was a good move. Keep him on his toes. I mean, I think they're both equally good looking.
Yeah. To me, they're good looking in two different ways. I said the same thing. Like, I think Chris is very, yeah. Or at least you have to actually be doing it.
And that's something that both Georgia and Liberty, they stopped doing. Like in that first conversation that Liberty had with Mitch, where we all were like, oh, they're kind of connecting. They were both flirting with each other. And I don't know when that stopped to her chasing him, but I think that's why she was probably confused, because he was flirting with her in the very first conversation or two that they had. Even with Georgia, when she was flirting, who was she talking to a little bit in the beginning?
Anton.
No, wasn't she flirting with somebody before Anton?
Chris?
Josh, maybe? Chris? Maybe Chris.
Josh. She talked to Chris, Josh, and Anton. Those were the three people she was talking to in the beginning.
Well, and in the beginning, I think it was Chris, and I was like, "Ooh, that could be something that would work." And I think that she needs to continue flirting with these people, because all of a sudden she
turns serious, yeah.
And
that is something that I do feel like people and women especially we lose sight of, that once we're serious, you can't stop the playfulness in a relationship, because once that's gone, there is no other side to the relationship. Like there's no friendship, there's no basis, right? Yeah, I agree.
And it's like, if somebody that I like gives me like a good jab, I'm just like I love it. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna get it back. I'm gonna get it back. I'm gonna get it back. Like it's like a little game that you're playing within your relationship that's seemingly harmless, like that you both are getting enjoyment and amusement out of. And I don't know, it just keeps things fun to me. So I do feel like they stop the fun part and they get into the serious too soon.
Too soon. Yeah, I agree.
Too soon, because like those people are just not like the relationship people like immediately. And so just stay flirting. Stay flirting. Josh and Tom, they're besties? They're the besties, right? No. Yeah?
Josh? No. Well, Casey and Tom are.
Casey and Tom, sorry. Okay, so Josh and Tom have a conversation, and Josh is, of course, again saying like, well, if Joanna wants to get to know me, you know, he's going to tell. So he told Sophie about the fact that they're open, and that like if Joanna wants to talk to him, I'm going to talk to her. And I'm just like, he's so disrespectful.
So Josh is just there for vibes.
Yep.
Just there for vibes.
Yeah, CK, Liberty was ready to lock it in at the end of the week. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he might have wanted to if it was still fun and like light.
She needed to make him. I feel like with
Enjoy her company.
with a Mitch and a Toby and a Chris, that is what you need to keep them on the hook, right? Like you need to keep ribbing them. You need to keep, and maybe this, goes to what KB's saying about Casey too. Maybe that's also what Casey needs based on some of the conversations I'm seeing later with him. You need to keep them chasing you and not
always.
yes, because otherwise that is what so yes, we want them to be overly emotionally invested, but sometimes in order to get the guy on the hook that way, you have to have them invested in that playful side, and that the emotion, like they can let their walls down to be emotionally invested.
Yeah, you can't force that because like
Right.
they don't want it to be a chore to be around you, right?
Correct.
They want it to be fun and light, and and they have an attraction to you. Like
Right.
they want the whole package. But they
Yes.
never, from my experience and what I've watched with other people,
Yeah.
they never want it to become too heavy too fast.
Yeah.
They you have to let them lead the how quickly the relationship progresses.
Right.
And you
Or
have to be
if
easy
you're
on them.
going to lead, you can't lead in either a manner that makes them feel like you're being too
Pressure.
yep. You have to literally be like, I don't care what you're doing.
Yeah.
Literally, and that is something, again, I figured out because like I will literally I will do to you what you do to me. So if I don't hear from you, you're going to see me posting on Instagram because I am going about my life and my business.
And that's actually what you have to do.
Yes.
I say it all the time. It's slightly toxic because my mom always says to me, always make sure that they like you a little bit more than you like them.
Or I will keep it moving, because if I text you and I get no response, or I message you and I
Oh,
get no response,
it's done.
bye.
Or like my.
I will be, and then if you come back and you're like, hey, how are you? Hey, how have you been? How was your week? Great. Mine was great. You
You
saw I
wouldn't be
did
like, oh,
all
you haven't I messaged you. You didn't message me back.
no. And that's the thing you can't do. I will never do that. You're like, oh, I saw you were online. Oh, I saw that you. No, I'm not doing all that. It's like, oh, I've been great. Work's
Like
been
you
crazy.
didn't notice because you're too busy to care.
Exactly. Oh, you didn't message me for 4 days? Really? Damn. I was too busy like going out and having a drink, going to work, taking care of my kids, having a life. You're still here? Hey, how are you?
100%. And those two do not have any chill with like the
No.
response of a
No,
man.
it'd be like, you did not message me for 4 days. I don't appreciate that. That's not the
I'm setting my boundaries.
yeah.
Like I know my
Mhm.
self-worth.
Yep.
They're
Yep.
just like,
And that's
ugh,
not. Mm-mm.
I'm definitely not going to message you again.
But that's what I'm saying. If Casey came into this villa and I would seriously be like, oh, you ghosted me 4 months ago? Did you? That happened? I don't really remember. I remember talking to somebody with a C. Maybe it was a Chris. Maybe. Oh, maybe that Casey does sound familiar. But I don't. I've been living life. Gone to Ibiza, having a good time.
Absolutely.
No, please.
So Kay here is saying Mitch seems like the guy that goes after the popular girl, though.
Yep.
He wasn't really going to want Lib once he knew that she was interested. Well, of course, Mitch goes for the girl that doesn't really want him. Absolutely. Like he was obsessed with Molly. Molly was not interested in him at all at one point, and he was just like he was so on her the whole time. Did he date anybody else in the end? I can't remember. Or was he just always for Molly?
Yeah, I mean, he went to Abby, and then he went to Jess.
Mitch was with Jess.
No, not the other Jess. The other Jess.
Jess, the blonde, that won the show, right?
No, wasn't there another? Okay, maybe her name is not Jess then. Hold on.
Leah?
Mitch. No, Mitch and
Ella B.
Ella.
B.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah. He should have stuck with crazy Abby. Absolutely.
He should have stuck with Abby. Actually, I think they would have. actually.
I mean, Abby is also
No, but do you understand that I think they would have been a very popular couple if they had stayed together?
Absolutely. I do.
I do
do.
feel like that they would have been a popular couple. Blonde, I think she would have been his Molly, but he doesn't want an Abby or a Libby or Liberty. He wants a Molly who literally
Doesn't
could
give him the
care
time of
less.
day.
Could care less.
He's punching. He doesn't know where like Ella B is way out of his league in my opinion. But she did give him the time of day, so I guess I would get with that if I had the choice or the chance. So Josh is saying that Joanna has a little test here for his relationship with Sophie. She's stunning, bro, is what Tom says. I'm just like, yes, Joanna is stunning. So is freaking Sophie. Okay. Like the fact that Josh is so quickly to have his head turned by another pretty girl is like, I get it. You're on a love show, whatever. You're still open, but it's kind of like, have a little bit of respect for the person that you're making out with every night, you know?
It's so ridiculous.
So rude. So they're playing Never Have I Ever, and the first one that we see is that Never Have I Ever Ghosted Anyone. And Georgia Harrison says to Casey, you should drink. You should drink there. You should be drinking. And he's like, no.
How many times do you think the producers heard in the Beach Hut that he ghosted her? And they were like, we got to put this question in.
The first question right away. And like he's explaining himself again. And it's like, you don't know what the definition of ghosting. He didn't message you back after you broke up.
That's it. And I mean, I'm not saying that people don't get ghosts and that it's not possible to feel hurt even by that, like even by mutually deciding you guys aren't working and you really not mutually agreeing, but you're agreeing to agree. I'm not saying she's not allowed to be hurt by that, but that's not ghosting.
Yeah, he didn't ghost her. They broke up. Mm-hmm. And she may not have wanted the breakup, but they broke up. Mm-hmm. Or they stopped seeing each other because I don't think they were ever official.
No.
Chris's question is, never have I ever done bits in the villa. Toby and Arabella take a drink. Which makes what he does at the end of the episode even more nasty.
But again, same MO. He did the same thing. He did the same thing season 7. Did the same exact. And I tweeted it. I saw it coming. I said, don't do it, Toby. Did it anyway.
Yeah, you can't break up with someone you're unofficially with, though. It's true.
That's what I'm saying.
But he ended whatever that was going on, which would probably mean having consistent texting and phone conversations. Like he was done with the communication. I felt. Toby says, never have I ever used my social media to impress somebody. And Anton
drinks.
Okay. Anton. Apparently a girl in Dubai. He used his Instagram as his business card to get her contact. And she had almost 1 million followers. So like he didn't care about his followings. I think he's at 1 million though, or close to 1 million. He's a lot. Like 700,000, I think.
I think he said he had 9 and she had over 1 million.
Oh, I thought she had 9.
Oh, I thought he.
Let's see. Anton, how many do you have? I think he has like 700 something. It might have gone up by now, but let's see. Anton. Oh, he's at 1 million. Okay. People love him. People love him.
But that's what I'm saying. I think he had 9 at the time, and she had over 1 million, which would make sense, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know who said this one, but never have I ever got with a celebrity. Joanna and Casey both drank, but she's not going to let anybody know who it was. So I'm like, well, all these people, those are tight-lipped. Like,
don't drink then.
Right? If you're going to tell us about it.
Just so you know, I went with a celebrity. I'm not telling you which.
We didn't hear about Casey's either. I wish that we had known. But like Georgia was giving like death stares for this. I was like, oh my gosh, like this poor guy. he got out like ahead. He probably was like, oh man, I gotta get out of this relationship with this girl because like she's gonna be a bit of a bunny boiler. But Arabella says, never have I ever been heartbroken by an Islander. Georgia Harrison drinks. Molly drinks. They start razzing Callum for not drinking, and then he didn't even have anything in his glass, and he's like, okay, fine, whatever, and he just like pretends to drink because they were saying that.
I was like, so shouldn't that be the case for like most of them? Most of them came out in relationships, and like even though the Islander isn't there. Dumb. It's just dumb.
And then Georgia Harrison, when they're like, who? And she's like, I'm not going to say. And I'm just like, we all know. Tom says, never have I ever.
My whole thing is, shouldn't that be more Josh? Because like she said they were off and on for like however long, but she seems stuck on this Casey thing. And I just don't get it.
Well, maybe she thought that Casey was easier to not manipulate, but like Josh, he definitely acts like a ladies' man, like hard to settle down or like nail down. Maybe she thought that Casey was different and is a little bit more of like a relationship person, and so she expected him to more likely get into a relationship with her. Mary is saying Georgia acting like her situation is the same as Molly and Callum to Casey. Please stop.
Wouldn't the equivalent be Josh, maybe? Like not Casey.
Casey's just like, what? He's in love with me or like heartbroken? What's happening?
Oh my
god. And then Tom says, never have I ever thought that somebody that's still here should have gone home. And I was like, oh boy, the producers are messy with this one. This one is messy. And then so I don't really remember how it all went down, but at one point it was Josh was just like, what, do you want to know how it happens? You want to know want to be brutally honest? And go ahead.
So literally all that happened is, again, she was directing people to drink. Like, oh, well, all the guys here should be drinking because you all wanted me to go home.
And then Anton said, and I'm like, throwing him under the bus again.
Yeah.
Like for you to feel.
Which is why he should have never told her that. I blame his ass for that.
Yeah, well, he should never have told her. Absolutely. But it's like, why does she want this pity attention?
It's
like
so weird.
I would be so embarrassed.
She is completely self-centered. Like, seriously. Like, that is all I got from this episode.
But like, she loves the attention of her looking pathetic.
Yeah. But do you know that the self-centered people they're okay with?
They're trying to get any attention whatsoever.
Okay. It doesn't matter. Like me looking like a dumbass. Well, like, oh, people are looking at me. It's okay. It's okay.
I feel like she must have her moon in Leo, because I think that's like the opposite side. Like that's like a negative attribute to Leo, where it's like, yes, they're ruled by the sun, but like they love being in the center of attention and they love having the applause and people being on the stage, but then having your emotions be ruled by needing to be getting some sort of attention. I'm wondering if it's her moon, like how she's emotionally fulfilled is through attention any way that she can get it.
Well, my moon is in Leo. I don't feel like I'm like that.
I'm just saying this is just could be one way that it could be expressed. Yeah. She's giving
Maybe they can about me.
Okay. Maybe not Leo then. Attention though. What else could it be? Maybe Mars in Leo?
Yeah. She was so everything that she in this thing she made about her.
But I guess actually maybe you both could be Mars and Leo, but it's just expressed differently. Like maybe you do like probably to a certain extent like being like on, a podcast or whatever. Like, you don't mind having the attention and the applause and being in front of people.
Yeah, I mean,
I just said you
someone
probably
to
don't
give
have,
you
like, the
insanity,
negative
but
side
yes.
of it,
Yes,
like she does.
definitely. Yeah,
Like, you
exactly.
don't thrive off of any sort of attention, like,
Correct.
it's more curated, the
Yeah.
one that emotionally fulfills you.
Yeah, I'll take positive, um, motivating.
I love that you're trying to save her. Nah, fam, the girl's unhinged. Oh. Oh, attention seeking is yeah, I know, very it's so draining though. And so I like come from the philosophy that your thoughts create your things, the life around you, and what you consistently think of is going to be
Mhm.
reflected in your life. And this is what she does specifically. She thinks that she's only going to be walked all over, that people are going to take advantage of her. She said so many times in this episode and other episodes that like
Mhm.
this always happens to me. People always treat
Yep.
me this way. And it's because you have these thoughts about yourself. So you're creating situations to to give you exactly what you're asking for, what you already believe to be true. And so she needs, I know she meditates, which is great, but she needs some life coaching, maybe some hypnotherapy to go in and see like what was the original inciting incident that made her feel as though negative attention, getting any attention,
Mhm.
especially negative attention from men, is what she needs to feel fulfilled, because
Fulfilled. Mhm.
it's not. It's
Yeah.
not, and it's actually it becomes a
It's the
self-fulfilling
opposite.
prophecy.
Mhm. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's why
Exactly.
she
What she
keeps
doesn't
getting
want is what she's
into
gonna get,
that's why she keeps getting into these toxic situationship,
because
relationship,
that's not healed. Whatever
whatever.
ignited that.
Whatever spiritual retreat she's on ain't working.
It's not going to the right thing. It's kind of like a band-aid, it seems.
Mm.
Like, for I don't know what they've been.
Mhm.
Meditating is really good, but I'm wondering why she hasn't gotten some enlightening thoughts
Mhm.
or hits. You know what I mean? Like when you're meditating a lot, you do become spiritually in tune, and she would know that like her ego needs to be fed by something deep and dark.
That would take self-awareness, and sometimes I feel like for people to gain that self-awareness, they need therapy
Yeah. Yeah, she probably needs therapy and the meditating.
and the meditation. Mhm.
So with this whole conversation that's happening, because like Kaz mentions that she was told by someone, she didn't out that person.
Because that is what you do properly.
And says that like, well, I was told that the bottom was myself and Hannah.
Hannah.
And Georgia was still on her train being like, I was told it was me, that I was on the bottom and none of the guys were like fending for me.
Mhm.
And I was just like, well, I wouldn't really want to fend for this person anyways. You're annoying.
And Kaz is like, no, what I'm trying to explain to you is that whatever story you were told, no, I'm and interrupting Kaz, and Kaz is like,
Oh yeah, because Kaz walks off and
and
then
then she walks up because
Georgia
she's like,
is coming like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't mean to upset you. I didn't mean to upset you. And she's like, Kaz is trying to calmly explain how she felt and what had actually went down. And she just kept on interrupting her, being like, no, but like, and she's like, well, that didn't happen. Like, and oh my God, it was so frustrating. And then when I didn't like what Kaz kept on like saying, um, oh, sorry, how did she say it? She was like, no, I lost my train of thought. Ah, but you're talking
so
about
first of all, she didn't go after Kaz because she just went after Kaz. Molly had to tell her.
to go say
Yes.
something. Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, Molly's like, do you see that you just like, because Kaz walked off, and she's like, do you see that you like going off on her? But she kept interrupting her, and Kaz was being very kind, but because again, I know Kaz knows that she can't sit there and go and yelling off at her. And also, Kaz is a Scorpio. She's not going to do that. She's going to look at you like you're crazy and you're dumb, like you are, and let you dig your own hole. But she kept like bringing it to Kaz, and then Kaz would try to explain it, and then she kept cutting Kaz off.
Oh, what I was gonna say that it was frustrating me that Kaz was doing was being like, "It's okay though, it's cool though, it's good, it's fine, it's good, it's chill, it's fine, we're okay, it's okay." And I was like, No, just say that it's annoying and for her to stop doing it because and it's not okay. You are actually hurt. You don't have to pretend like this wasn't offensive to you. The fact that Georgia Harrison was all up in arms about the fact that these guys may not have saved her, and it actually had nothing to do with her. It had to do with her not being saved at all by Anton, someone that she's been in the villa with since the beginning. And yeah, he didn't save her. He saved you, Georgia.
Yeah.
And I was on the button.
Yeah.
Anyways, so annoying.
Yeah.
So annoying. Oh, but you know what? Yeah, this makes sense. Kay saying that Kaz was being patient because she was aware of the issues and the stereotypes. That's true.
That's what I'm saying. She has no choice because anytime that Kaz has raised her voice or asserted herself, she gets hate comments. I've seen it every single time.
That's true.
Even this season.
That's true. That's true. She can't do anything. But Georgia does have like a little bit of a fight with Anton, and like and Anton's like, well, that's not what I said, and like a little bit different. She didn't because she was saying that it was her and Hannah that were the bottom two, and Anton had said to her that he was the one that was saving her.
Right,
which is true.
But she's like, no, you told me that I was on the bottom with Hannah. He's like, I never said that. I said I was going to bat for you, that I was saving you. I didn't say who the bottom 2 or 3 were. Well,
Josh did.
Josh did. But yes, Josh did.
Yeah, so guys kept on saying it's okay. It's okay. And I'm like, it's not okay, but I'm glad you just let it go, Kaz. It's cool. It's fine. Because then George is like, like I don't want to fight with you. Like you're my girl. Like she's not a girl's girl. She's selfish. It's all has to be about her, and I'm done with her, 100%. So Molly and Casey go for a chat, and she thinks it's weird that he's pulling her for a chat when she's kind of seeing his best mate. But he says that, well, we both find you attractive. And I'm just like, I don't know if I would be into, if I was dating someone and then his best friend was like, well, I like her too. And he's like, go ahead, you can have a turn. Like, I don't know. I just don't know if I like that. Well, how do you feel about it?
I have 2 schools of thoughts on it. If the person I'm with feels like we're strong enough that guy has no opening, like, go ahead, take your shot. I don't think I'll be as offensive, but I kind of feel like Tom should have had a conversation with Molly. Like, listen, Casey's gonna come talk to you. I told him it was okay because I know that what we have going on.
Okay.
So if he wants to embarrass himself, let him come talk to you. I'm not going to stand in his way, but we good. You and me.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's how I feel like a mature man would approach this situation, right? Because my whole thing is an insecure man is going to make a big deal about it. An uninsecure man is going to make sure you're secure, and he's not going to make a big deal about it. That's the difference.
Case thinks that Tom and Casey are jonesing for a throuple.
I would not be surprised if that's not the case.
I mean, probably.
Yeah.
Georgia Harrison is embarrassed and she's crying now. It's like, you made the whole embarrassment. You keep on announcing the fact that you're disrespected and that you're in the bottom and nobody wants to save you and that he ghosted you. Like, you keep on pointing out all the embarrassing things. Nobody knew about any of them. At all.
I was like, how is it that you victimize Kaz and still somehow find to make this?
And then she's like, you'd rather pull your best mate's bird over like talking to me? It's embarrassing. I'm never the right person. And
I would feel embarrassed about it too, but you know what I wouldn't do? Be saying it out loud.
Absolutely. I would maybe say it to my best friend, like in like quiet and confidence, like not on the show.
Like, can you believe that he's like talking to Tom's Molly? And I mean, he could be talking to I wouldn't even say my name. He could be talking to anybody here, but he's talking Mom.
Yeah. So and talking with Sophie and Josh about it too, and it's like, Georgia, you also had a thing with Josh. Like, wouldn't you maybe be more selective with? Because, like, I think it's embarrassing because he's also someone that said he didn't want you. You know what I mean? And like now you're crying about someone that doesn't want you. Like, did she want to just make everybody feel guilty into like her relationship with her? Mm-hmm.
I can't.
So Sophie and Josh are talking and talking about his top three. Oh, maybe it's not Sophie. Sophie and Georgia.
Oh, no. So top 3, it must be Joanna.
Joanna, and I wrote Sophie.
Joanna. Yeah. Joanna came to him. He came to Joanna and said, "Who was the top 3?" Because I was like, when I heard his voice, I was like, "Why are you asking Joanna that?" And she was like, "I'm not gonna tell." He's like, "Oh, it's time to tell now." Like, because I thought it was gonna be Casey asking her like who she was interested in, but Casey and Joanna haven't really talked. So
Josh does say though his top 3 is Sophie, you, Joanna, and Georgia Harrison because they have history. I was like, you're admitting that after this
to
day?
be fair, she's the one that cut it off. He thought he was gonna be able to go back to her. So, and at this point, he might be able to. If Sophie and Joanna cut it
If
off,
he wanted Georgia Harrison back, he could get her.
Right,
Any man there, except
Exactly.
for Anton, can get that girl.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So to be fair, he has her placed correctly.
And she does choose her top 3, being Josh, him, Chris, and then Anton and Casey are kind of like a toss-up. I'm like, girl, you're not into Anton. You know it, but I feel like the producers are forcing you to say that you are.
Yeah.
That's what it
Anton never stood a chance. But I said this, I think that from what I've heard on the outside, there was never going to be an Anton thing.
So he asked her what her type is. She says brown hair with light eyes, and they start flirting a little bit, and like always like wearing a gray sweater, and he starts kind of describing her as who like is his type. I mean, they get along decently, but I think she knows that he's in something with Sophie and that she doesn't want to be part of that mess. I think she's a little bit more mature enough to like, there's no Casa More here. I think I'm going to stay with people that are not.
She's like, I can have the pick of men and not have to deal with your bullshit with you and Sophie. I'm going to go the other route.
Absolutely.
And not do what happened to me in season 5 where I had no choice in the matter because the guy came in already had a person.
Yeah.
I think that's a better option for me.
So Tom and Molly chat, and Tom doesn't actually know where Molly stands. But he does tell her that there's no girl in there that he would like to get to know and that he really likes her. Mm-hmm. Did Molly say a word here?
But that's why Tom is still on the hook, and that's why you notice how he's saying there's girls who want Tom, but there's no girl that Tom wants but Molly, and that is why Molly is playing this game correctly.
Yeah, she just does not give them anything.
Yeah,
nothing.
That's what I'm saying. To me, if he wanted to show some maturity, he should have went to her like, "Oh, Casey just came to me, and he said he's gonna pull you the tat."
So
and I told
give
him,
her a heads up.
Yeah, just give her a heads up.
Yeah, pays them dust, 100%.
Taurus vibes. Sorry, that's what we do.
So they're all getting ready for bed. It's nighttime. I didn't notice if anybody was smooching at night.
Oh, I didn't notice.
We get to the morning, and Casey has decided he's putting on his grafting boots.
Good for Casey.
Of course, Casey and Joanna return to the main bedroom, and then all the talking starts, the chats. Anton is sad and he apologized for causing an atmosphere change in the group. And I was like,
I mean, to be fair, that's why they kept him, right? So they kept him because of the vibes he brought to the group. So him fucking up the group, because otherwise he could be dumped.
I wish that he was dumped. I think I would have rather Tyler be in the villa.
Absolutely.
Tyler's best friend. Who did they say Tyler's best friend was? Chris?
In the villa?
Yeah.
It was Callum.
Like, I would love to see more Callum and Tyler like hang out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, except for that, he also thought that Callum and Georgia were a really strong couple, and I was like, "Oh, Tyler, you don't know."
Well, he might also just be supporting his friend here.
Yeah, because he said, "Oh, Callum and," because they asked, "Who do you think would win?" Of course, and he said, which is funny because he said Callum and Georgia. I think now that they are on the same page, he had that conversation with her. They're gonna be good. Meanwhile, Hannah was like, "That girl is not insecure."
Hey,
Any day,
exactly though.
any day.
Anton is the male version of Georgia Harrison and
Period.
Liberty.
Yeah.
Like it's just this environment's not for them.
I would have been excited to see him going after Joanna. I'm not sure he would get her. I'm
Isn't
talking
he
about
doing that?
Tyler. I'm talking
Oh,
about Tyler.
Tyler.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, she's a Libra. He's a Taurus.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's not great, but could only because I've dealt with the Libra, and so yes, no, we did.
I mean, you got
We're on
the
two
Venus
different
rulership.
pages.
Again?
I said we're always on two different pages.
Right. It's because you guys understand Venus differently.
Yes.
You
Like,
understand it like experientially, like physically,
yeah.
and they understand it intellectually.
Right.
So
Literally, you can have the same exact conversation and want the same exact things, but the approach is like around the world in 80 days.
I love a Libra. They're so beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm just such a fan of Libra.
I had to cut off the one I was talking to because he made me mad.
I get it. He's gonna be more aloof than you are for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
So Chris, Kaz, and Toby are talking, and he's talking about now it being make or break with Arabella. This is Toby, and he still really cares for Georgia Steele. And I'm like, I already saw this clip in the new look or whatever, and I was like, this man, leave Georgia alone. She's not the prize. She's the most annoying here, but she's been quiet for 2 days. I'm like, I want her to be quiet still. I'm happy when she's quiet.
Same. Chris and Kaz's face when they said they looked at each other like I looked at him and I was like
well, and then Chris is like, I think you and Georgia are good for each other. And I was like, really?
Really? Chris is too kind. Chris is a sweet, sweet man.
Then he just says Kaz and Chris wanted to be like Toby.
For real. And first of all, Kaz has seen this freaking playbook.
She's just like Toby, being Toby.
Listen, he saw Georgia was number 2 in the lineup.
That's what I think.
And he was like, "Oh no! Wait!
Like me and Arabella are not getting
Arabella." And to be fair, I do agree with him because he's like during his speech, he was like something I can actually see going on the outside. I don't see him and Arabella going on the outside, and so I understand what he's saying. But his approach.
He just spent a month saying if it was going to work on the outside with Georgia Steele, it would have worked on the outside.
He would have been better going after Joanna.
I would have liked that better too.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. He would have been better going after Joanna. He would have been, if you're going to try again, try with new, because this was never going to work. Never going to work.
This is so ridiculous. Anton, Callum, and Sophie are having a morning chat. I didn't write anything down about that. Arabella and Georgia Steele are talking and talk about how are you and Toby, and Arabella is talking about how her and Toby are good in a good place. That, like, you know,
he's also too young for Arabella. That's the point. That's what I'm trying to say.
Too young for Georgia Steele. Like,
he's a year younger than Georgia Steele at least. But
Georgia has a problem with it, even though she has no problem with Tom being a year younger.
Right. So I don't know. Toby is
It's a waste, man.
That's why they got rid of Mitch, because they're like, some producer was like, Toby
We'll leave
got
it to Toby. Yeah, we'll leave it to Toby. He'll mess things up.
Josh and Toby got this. We don't need Mitch. We don't need messy Mitch.
So Georgia Harrison hugs Anton, being like, "You mean so much to me." And she really liked the idea of Casey, but like, Anton is such a good friend to her, and just Anton needs to put some boundaries also on his like kindness and generosity. Not to say that he needs to be mean to people, but like
stop being a pick me.
She's using you emotionally.
Yeah, stop being a pick me. Stop being okay with her overrunning you and sucking you emotionally dry for you to come be Captain Save-A.
Joanna and Chris talk again.
And mind you, I'm just saying, I'm not really calling her a hoe. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's just like pick me. It's
Save a hoe. No, I get it. Don't worry. I don't think anybody thinks that you're just calling her a hoe. I don't think.
You never know. Which is why I'm saying the disclaimer.
So Joanna and Chris are having a little flirty chat and talking about his CV, and she read over his CV and kind of flirting. Are you open to get to know me? And she doesn't really say anything, but I like that she says, I'm not really touchy-feely, because most air signs aren't really that touchy-feely. But when she gets to know them, she warms up to them, which is, in my opinion, normal. But because physical touch is like, it's like 13% of my love language, and like all the other ones are like 40, and then like 20 and like small number. No, 35, and anyways. So what are yours actually? What's your breakdown?
I've been ranking quality time over physical touch. No, over acts of service, but I actually think it's gonna be quality time and physical time.
It's literally Pick Me Island.
At this point, this is not Love Island All-Stars. This is Love Island Pick Me. Pick Me
X on the beach.
Pick Me X on the beach. Yeah. Love Island Pick Me version.
Yes, definitely the Pick Me version, not All-Stars. What happened next? Okay, so Casey and Kaz are talking. This was a cute conversation, I have to say.
So go ahead and talk about the conversation, but I have a lot to say about this conversation.
Okay, so he asked her, do you run? And she says, I don't run. Like, even if someone was chasing me, I don't know if I'd run. And he asked her what she's scared of, and she says she's scared of snakes. And he says that he's scared, sitting on a toilet and like a snake biting his balls, and ask her if she would suck the venom out of his balls if he was stung by or bitten by a snake. And I was laughing with this conversation. Like they were laughing, and like I agreed with them when she went to call Tom. She's like, Tom, like I also
Tom,
thought
say goodbye
to suck the venom out of his dick. I thought this was a funny conversation. It made me be like, okay, like maybe he could pick her and like they can see how things go. This is the most interaction she's had with anybody that wasn't an automatic friendship couple for her. So I liked their interaction here.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
So as I pointed out in yesterday's episode, we have seen that Casey does seem to be interested in Black women. So this is not brand new, right? I do feel like he's more sexually forward with Kaz. Now, I'm taking it two ways. Either, because a lot of people seem to be very upset about him. They're like the conversation he had with Molly is a totally different conversation that he had with Kaz. But to be fair, Molly's a Taurus like me, and approaching us sexually that way could play two different ways. Kaz is a Scorpio like him, And I feel like they might have that type of banter because I think if she had a problem with it, she wouldn't talk to him.
No, absolutely. And Scorpios sometimes like weird
Yes.
sexual, what others may seem to be weird sexual fantasy. Like they definitely are the most experimental, we'll say,
Yes.
in the sexual world. If you were to label it one of the signs, they are very sexual, but
Yes.
they're also very different. Like they like different things than maybe the average person. So them having this kind of sexual conversation is definitely a Scorpio conversation.
That's how I felt. But I know people don't believe in signs, so they think he's fetishizing her. And they didn't want him to pick her. They did, and I was like, okay, let's be fucking for real here. You didn't want her with Tyler. You don't want her with Casey. But these are the two guys that showed any type of interest in her. And again, I ask, what all-star primarily dates Black women that is supposed to come into, I need names, that is supposed to come in here that Cash should be sitting herself up on the shelf waiting on? I just need to know. Because to me, as long as he's not offending me, I'm going to have the conversation.
So I felt when he was looking at the ask busk thing that was a little bit fetishizing This particular conversation, I didn't think so at all. I think it was just an interesting flirty banter that she seemed to be. She was laughing.
That's what
I'm saying. Genuine laughter.
I'm saying they had that first conversation with which I agree to you. I felt was a little fetishizy. It was a little cringier to me. And then they had this conversation where I'm like, oh, actually, she seems to be into it. And I actually feel like maybe there's something there. Do I trust Casey? Not really. Do I trust any of these men? Not really. Casey has proven that he is obviously physically attracted to Black women, will obviously probably have sex with them. Will he date them publicly? We have yet to see it. Maybe we will. I don't know, but I'm saying that it's not fair for y'all to be like, oh, I'm so protective of Kaz. I don't want her to get hurt. It's fucking Love Island, and she should have stayed home.
Exactly. She knows what she's getting herself into 100%. Like she's what, 29 now, 28, 29, like
yeah, something like that.
She knows the deal.
Yeah.
And she could choose to whether maybe she just wants to be with somebody that fetishizes her.
That's what I'm saying.
Because
he's okay with that's what I'm saying. Yeah, there's you have to know how to approach someone. I dated a Scorpio, so he knew where my boundaries are. He knew what to say to me, like that. You know, to somebody else would be like way too provocative, and he also knew when to lay off. Like that, I didn't like. I wouldn't like that. It wouldn't be cool. Like you have to know your audience, and I feel like he wouldn't say it to her if she didn't allow it, because Cass has not pressed upon me somebody who would allow a white man to just fetishize her. I think she probably likes the way he talks.
Absolutely. And like I said, Scorpios like that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like they are usually kickier than most. And so like maybe that's a bit of her kink, right? Like having someone that like fetishizes her, that's going to be someone that really wants her in that kind of way because of like who she is. Like she might be into that. I'm not personally, but I don't have a lot of Scorpio energy in my chart.
It's hard for me to get past potentially dating a white guy because I fear being fetishized.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a fear of mine because I would not want to enter a relationship where somebody does not see me for me. Especially, I feel like I was married to somebody, he wasn't white, who did not see me for me. So then to go into a relationship with somebody where potentially they're never going to see me for me because all they see is my ass and my tits and everything else but me. No, that's not my vibe.
I know. I mean, I agree. It's also when like someone will say to me like, "Oh, I have somebody that you should maybe meet." And I'll be like, he'll show me, and he's white, we'll say,
Mhm.
and they'll be like, yeah, he loves black girls, and I was like, okay, I'm not
No.
interested.
No.
Like,
That's not how it works. Like, have you dated black girls? Not he likes black girls. Has he dated black girls? What was his longest relationship? Does he understand racism? Like don't get me. It's Black History Month. Don't get me started. But that's what I'm saying. I think she likes the banter. I said, listen, they could couple up just for the banter alone. I liked it.
exactly. They enjoy each other's company, at least at this point, right?
Yeah.
They haven't he hasn't kissed her or like tried to make out with her or
No.
like told her to clap, like, twerk for him, like doing none of that so far. So allow them to have some stupid kind of sexual banter that she seems to be enjoying.
And I would rather the UK public understand that Kaz is a sexual being than acting like she's some dowdy grandma waiting for somebody to knock her off a shelf. Like, that's ridiculous.
Oh gosh. So Naya here thinks that it's to me it's just weird that all the producers show between Kaz and Casey combos are we supposed to believe that's all they talk about? Just wish there's some balance in topics like the others.
But maybe that is all they talk about, though. Like, remember, there's been conversations in prior seasons where we're like, all their conversations are sex, all their conversations are sexual. Do they even know each other? And then later on, we would get conversations that, oh, you guys don't talk about, do you even know that she likes this? And they're like, no, we always just talk about sex. Right? Like, that happens. And I think that's normal. Why is it okay for white people to do it, but not okay for Cass to do it with somebody else?
I like this conversation more than the last conversation.
Yes.
So I was here for it. I'm fine by it. And she said she would not suck the venom. Okay.
Yes. And that's the other thing. And that's the other thing. She put him in his place because it's like, you had the conversation and she told him what her limits were. It's like, it was nice getting to know you. Sorry, sweetie. Bye-bye.
Yeah, you're dead. I'm gonna let you die.
She didn't be like, probably what Liberty would be like, oh, I would try to save you and figure it out. She was just, you notice he thought that she was telling him she was going to go get Tom to help him out, and she was telling Tom to tell him bye.
It was a funny conversation.
It was. I thought it was cool. I thought it was a cool conversation.
Joanna and Josh do have a conversation. Where's your mind at? He says he's still open to get to know her. She's torn between him and Chris. But she says that Josh doesn't really kind of hit on her, doesn't graft her at all. And so she has to graft him. She always has to come and approach him. And Josh is like, well, you like it though. I think you like it. And she does, but I think she prefers to know that Chris is into her and that she's not going to be wasting her time.
I agree. I mean, and I think we said that before. It's like, we don't want a timid guy. Like, be clear about what you want, right? So that I'm not feeling like I'm in limbo. Like, it's not going to feel good to be going after you. Not at all. Sorry.
Rudo here says their conversation is so much better than Georgia still asking Tom if he fancies her.
God, we're out of that.
Period. Right? It's better. I was into it. Yeah. It was an entertaining conversation.
I thought it was entertaining. Listen, there have been some shit conversations in this. This was a good conversation.
So Georgia, Harrison, and Casey have another conversation, and this is where he was kind of pissed. He's like, you're creating this narrative that I'm a bad person. Mm-hmm. And she's like, did you just go off me? And he's like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to lay it down on you right here. You know, you were meditating. You were at this retreat. You said something about my grandfather. And so
called me up and said something about my dead grandfather.
You got to know your audience with people about spiritual things. Yeah. Casey doesn't come across to me as somebody that is going to be spiritually open, that I'm going to be doing, some meditating and going to retreats with and doing some tantric dance, staring at each other in their eyes. Like, I actually like that type of stuff. And like, I kind of want to have a spiritual person as my person because like, I like all that stuff personally, but like, I know my audience. Not that many people know that like my grandmother was a medium and like I've seen, things from the other side. Like, And I would not immediately tell this to somebody that I was dating.
Yeah.
Especially
It's the same
in the
thing even
world
with like astrology. Some you have to know your audience. Like some people don't believe in it. Some people vibe with it. Some people are meeting. So if I'm having these conversations, I'm gonna let you know. Well, I'm into it. And like, are you into it? No, I don't really believe in that stuff. I mean, it's the same thing. Some people ain't even into reality TV shows, so I don't have those discussions with them. Some people are not into books, so I don't have those discussions with them. It is you have to
know
understand your
your audience for
audience.
sure. 100%. And to me, his reaction to what she said about her grandfather, and that she was just like, she was just connecting spiritually, and she was just getting the message that his grandfather was saying this. And also, though, that's something that's actually very irresponsible of her, because I would say that if you're having connections with someone from the other side, or any of that yeah, you maybe they did give you this message, but it's kind of like not your place to give them. It wasn't asked for.
Yeah.
They didn't ask for you to connect them with their deceased grandfather. Like, and so it was kind of like intrusive and crossing a barrier. And I think that he didn't like that. He didn't like the topic whatsoever.
Right.
And it's a little bit like overbearing. Like, how dare you come and infringe me and like make me have to go and think about my grandfather that's passed? Like, I thought it was insensitive to where he could be in his life, and to whether or not, like, maybe his grandfather was horrible to him. And
I was gonna say maybe he hated his grandfather. And to be fair, I like who is the person that is her spiritual leader? Because why would you allow her to, without you, approach him with this conversation? Because I don't know any spiritual even if it's like like a godly Christian spiritual leader who would allow you to have that conversation alone with somebody else. They would bring
without
you
permission.
in.
You need permission to kind of share stuff like that with somebody. Like, he didn't ask you to give him a reading and go into mediumship and connect with his dead. And I think she was doing it to get me closer to him and like kind of have the connection with him.
Yep.
And wrong person. He wasn't the person.
Yep.
And if it was me, though, that like, if that came through, say that like I was just compelled to tell the person that I was seeing about this, and then they reacted the way that they did, said that this is inappropriate or whatever, like, we're gonna break it off right now, and I would understand, and B, I'd be like, you know what? He's not the right person for me, because I would hope that the person that I would be sharing that information with somebody that would want to connect with me further, and have a more of a spiritual connection with me. And so that should have been, to me, the indicator that he's not right for me. But for her, I don't even know like where her thoughts are around this. It doesn't make any sense.
I think Georgia is searching for something. She's searching in all the wrong places. She needs to go to therapy. She needs to figure out how to have a little more self-awareness. And again, this is self-awareness, like being self-aware enough to understand where you screwed over somebody's boundary for them. And like, you could have held that conversation. You could have came back and like say it face to face.
If he'd asked,
right? Like, how was the spiritual treat? Did you get any? Like, if he understood and it's like, oh, did you get any messages? I think I heard from your like dead grandfather, but we'll have a conversation about that, and like when you're ready and receptive to it. And anybody who is not ready and receptive to it would have been like, okay.
Exactly. All right. Well, you kind of learn that you kind of have to do things in that world in their time, right? They might not be ready to hear that information. And so Danita here is pointing out something that I forgot, is that at the retreat, they said not to call anybody while they're there. It was probably a Vipassana.
I didn't even hear that part. And you see, I'm saying this already because I don't, from what and I've never been to a spiritual retreat, but I have like I feel like I'm more of a spiritual person. So I do try to have these conversations. And from what I understood about in any spiritual aspect is you don't hold these conversations with people directly that could impact them. You either do it through a mediator or you hold off until they are open and receptive to it.
Yeah, they have to give you permission to go there, in my opinion, or it's invasive and it's unkind,
Mhm.
and it's you cross a boundary, and that's like it's just icky.
Yeah,
It's icky. It's icky. Well, now we know what happened. He was really put off by that.
and fair. And the thing is, he had the conversation with her on the phone right then and there and said, "You know what? This is not for me. This is not working. I think we need to cut this off." And he didn't ghost you, dude. He didn't ghost you.
KB is saying, like, not that us believe in George as a medium, only spirit she talked to with Jim Bean. I mean, she could have gotten a message. She could have pretended she got a message. Maybe she wanted to appear to him that she was really spiritually connected and that she wanted, whatever happened, she wanted to use
Mhm.
the grandfather as a way to connect
She
deeper
might
with
have
him.
absolutely believed that message was coming from his grandfather. I'm not saying she didn't. I would never listen. People speak through the
It could have happened.
weirdest
It could
of
have not
people.
happened. But
Yeah.
regardless, she told him that it happened.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. It's
I
what you
don't
do with
know.
the information or the experience afterwards is where you go from it.
So Georgia Steele and Toby do have another talk about they didn't handle their breakup really well. He didn't handle the breakup very well, and she said she wasn't really listening or whatever. They were just talking
It didn't
really
sound like
half.
she was listening during this conversation, but
Yeah. So they're all getting ready for the nighttime. Then Joanna decides that she's going to be getting to know Chris and Josh a little bit more. They get a text. The guys groan. The girls squeal. There's going to be a recoupling tonight. Joanna and Casey do get first choice. And then it was going to be a boys recoupling, getting their first choice. So Georgia Steele makes some long ass toast. I didn't write it down because it was boring.
yeah, well.
And we go directly to the recoupling. And Casey's first up. He says Kaz, and I'm like, because like how he was describing like, is he gonna say Kaz?
Yes. From the word, this is where how you make a speech for somebody you actually want to get to know. His speech was perfection, considering a lot of the speeches that we've heard in this damn villa.
Yeah, and then he's like, he's like, oh, we get to share a bed.
And she did not look upset, guys. I don't know what to tell y'all. She
Like,
didn't be like,
he makes her laugh in a way that she feels comfortable, and she likes it. I'm not gonna yuck her yum, right?
yeah.
Joanna talks about this person being able to talk rubbish with him all day long. She chooses Chris. We knew she was going to choose Chris.
Yeah.
She's no dummy.
Listen, these people on holiday. Listen, even if they just want to screw around on the island and go about their business, let them have it. Let them have it.
Did Josh so scoff? I felt like he went like about the fact that he wasn't picked.
Yeah, I think he was under the impression he was getting picked.
He's not that.
And to be fair, I was under the impression that he might get picked until the conversation she had with him, where it was kind of like, oh no, she don't want to be anywhere near this.
The trio,
Sophie, threesome bullshit. Yeah, yep. Which is very mature of Joanna, because anybody else wouldn't have cared. They would still like act like their last experience wasn't their experience and lean into it. But Joanna's like, I got screwed over my last experience. I'm gonna do this right this time. Yeah.
I'm also glad Kaz got picked as a choice, not because she was, the last person there, and
picked first.
Yeah, picked first.
Love it.
Great. He had the choice of everybody there. He could break up a couple if he wanted to.
Yep.
And he chose Kaz. So I love that. And Georgia Harrison was, she wasn't, her face did not say happy for Kaz. Yeah. Not at all.
No. And that was the best part, because I had going into the recoupling. It's like, listen, at this point, Casey and Kaz for the bands alone, and to hopefully get at Georgia H, because what the hell is wrong with her? And listen, it all paid off for me.
Well, I think part of it is Georgia H thinks that she's better than Kaz, So Tom goes first, saying this person's absolutely gorgeous and he can see potential with them outside the villa. Molly, he chooses. Anton says this person has an unbelievable smile and her beauty is on the outside and the inside. And George is crying and Joanna sheds a tear. for Georgia Harrison. Then Toby goes and he says, I have her back as much as she has mine. And I want to test if this is a real connection.
I was like, what? I'd say, wait a second. I
And
said,
this is
oh
the
shit. I said, Toby,
bravest choice.
don't do this. I literally tweeted, Toby, don't do it.
He chooses Georgia Harrison.
Oh my God.
She was also just like,
what? No conversation with nobody. Literally no conversation with Callum, no conversation with Arabella, no conversation with Georgia, no conversation with nobody. Nobody. Toby, talk to nobody.
Well, Danita says Georgia Steele's going to act like she's upset about Toby picking her, but deep down she's buzzing because she does not like Callum.
I can see this. I can see this.
Well, and then it's going to give her like, she's going to not be attached to Callum now. And so she could probably go and try to get Tom again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's going to be the center of attention again. And it's annoying. Georgia's probably relieved. My girl knows it's time to be safe from Callum. I like Callum.
She just doesn't like that man though.
Well, I think she doesn't like that he's so passive.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know why she would like Tom, because Tom is also really passive.
I don't know. Listen, it might have been by any means necessary. So, like, that's why I'm saying Danita might be right here. I think she might have worked it out because I don't think she likes Callum personally.
Not enough.
No.
Well, but she could also be the type that likes everything that Molly likes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if Molly was still into Callum, I think that she'd still be into Callum more. Molly is now focusing on Tom. Oh, I want to have. I can have what Molly has. Molly's not better than me. So I think that if Molly was giving Toby attention, she'd be all into Toby.
I mean, and there was a point where Molly was giving Toby attention. I do feel like that also might have been a trigger. The fact that he chose Molly instead of her, but.
Yeah, she definitely likes emotionally unavailable men, 100%. I also think that she's in competition, a silent competition with Molly. But that's it for the episode. We talked a lot about it. Whoops.
I know, like I will say this was probably one of the better episodes, except for the absolute self-centeredness of Georgia H. I could have did away with half of that, but all the rest of the messy. But again, the whole him picking Kaz in the end and paying her absolutely no mind was literally, I think, KB said, as the cherry on the top.
Yeah, the fact that you did bits with Arabella is not going to bode well with Georgia. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think she's gonna like that part. And Arabella was like, Sophie is like, so to not even say anything to you beforehand. And then Arabella was like, it's always me. I was like, girl, you did this.
See, another one of these people.
But like, come on now.
But it's like, don't be with Toby.
Right. Like, it's not like it's like you went with Toby. Like, you don't even really want Toby. You guys aren't going to do anything outside of this villa. Like, I don't even know. I don't know. But one of the better episodes of the season.
Yeah, it was entertaining.
Yeah,
definitely. I was engaged. Yes. Like it was a good episode.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm still upset that we're not going to get a movie night likely, and it's going to be the stupid awards thing, and it's like they don't even have the people we want in the categories that they have, and I'm just like, why are they ruining everything?
Yeah, I don't know. So we've got it's Friday. We got 2 weeks left of this show, and again I asked, do people win this? People win this because I don't think anybody deserves to really win this show,
right? Maybe that's the joke. The gag is like, nobody wins. You win your relationship.
Yeah. I would love that. I will be interested in who actually goes on these romantic dates, because this villa is not romance.
Kay doesn't think that Georgia still feels threatened by Arabella. I don't think she's threatened by Arabella, but I don't think she likes the fact that they're doing bits and like like, and then he's going to come to her now. Like, I don't know. I just don't think that she's into that.
Yeah, no. We'll see. Like I said, I can see her doing exactly what Danita says. I can also see her being like, "Oh, how dare you do this to me and Callum?"
Yeah, she's gonna play that card. Like, Callum and I are so good right now. Like,
Mhm.
we're good. Like, I could see something with him on the outside,
Yeah,
and like now you come in here to interfere. It like, why, Toby?
yeah, yeah.
Why?
And Toby will smooth it over, but I don't
In a
know.
second, he'd
Yeah,
be like, I felt like it was unfinished business.
I wanted to choose you.
Ari, anything that you have going on you want to share with the people?
So tonight is the 6th episode of Traders US. So Miss T Joy and Janelle and I will be here on my YouTube channel at Entertainment in Color to
Tonight?
tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
We're gonna chit chat about it tomorrow about 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. So catch us then for the recap. And yeah, that's it for right now. Happy Black History Month. I've been putting some stuff out on socials. I did a little wrap up of my January also on socials. So I might do a TikTok, depending. Yeah, I might try to do a little TikTok about traders postmortem because I had some stuff to say about that. But other than that, nothing much.
Who's the second date? So we had Tyler and Hannah. So one of the dates there are both already home. Who was the other date?
There was another date. Arabelle and Chris.
Oh. Okay. I forgot about that.
On the boat.
In the boat. Yeah.
And they're already done. Yep.
Long time done.
And one hideaway at this point just got interrupted. So yeah. Yeah.
It's not working. Thanks, Anita. Thank you, chat. Yeah, right. We got it. Chris and Arabella. It's always a fun time chatting with you about this show. Even though we hate it, we love talking about it, right? Like, I mean, I don't hate the show at all, but like, we love complaining about it. But I definitely have a really good time talking about this.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, guys, they held off the best show. Y'all are about to get Love Island games if you're in the UK. So just
watch Love Island games. I want you to hear you guys' opinion, and we did cover it. So if you want to also watch along with our recaps, like
so
it'll be kind of fun. The date was forgotten quickly. I really didn't remember it.
Neither of those couples should have gotten dates. When they said that they were giving dates to those people, we all was just like, what? And so that should have told them right then and there.
100%. For me, I will be covering the traders tonight. So we're going to go live probably around 11:45, I think. And so we will go live kind of after the episode, like an hour and a bit after the episode. So yes, let us please join in because it's such a fun conversation. And then also listen to the coverage that Tamika, Miss T Joy, and Janelle are going to have tomorrow because I can't get enough. I'm so excited for tonight's episode.
Me too.
I need to see.
We have theories, so I want to see which theory on our recap. We had some theories, so I want to see which one gets pulled out tonight. So,
yep, Love Island was great. It was great, and so
they did their thing with that one.
It was so fun. It was really a good time. So please subscribe to the channel, like this video, and let us know. Are they bringing more people in? I want to know. What do you think? Are they?
I don't even know if I want them to or not. I need to dump more people.
Well, maybe we need to dump some people because none of these couples are good. Or should they just dump Anton and Georgia and just bring in another couple?
Oh, did you talk about Anton and Georgia's speech?
Did they? Oh yeah, I did a little bit about his smile, her beauty from the outside and the inside.
Just so pick me. It's just like, but Joanna was crying. I was like, dude, she doesn't like him. Why are you crying? Like, you should be crying for him, not because of him. Like,
she really doesn't like that man, and she's just suffering. Oh, I know, it's bad. I'm enough of it for me. I was okay with Anton up until a couple episodes ago, and then when he threw Kaz under the bus to save Georgia, who does not like him at all. I'm just like, I'm done.
Either send in somebody from Anton and cut the shit, or like seriously cut the dead weight at this point.
Get him out. All right, we'll see you on Sunday for more Love Island recaps, because I won't be there tomorrow likely. So yeah, we'll go live Sunday with Miss Mansa. She'll be back in town.
Yeah.
All right.